On Daring Abroad today, it's the turn of a journalist. Julius Mbaluto, an independent journalist in the UK, is our guest. And through his eyes, we will find out how is it practicing abroad and are there opportunities? Julius Mbaluto has been living in London for over 25 years. This is his normal route to his workplace, Suffolk Street in Waterloo, central London. He hosts a current affairs show on a radio station known as Colourful Radio that is located at the African Centre. As he prepares for his show, Mbaluto has already clocked some hours elsewhere. He's just come from a TV talk show at GNTV, a channel that broadcasts content about Ghana and is viewed in the UK and West Africa.
Everyone, we are ready. Our phones are off.
As we film his work, I happen to be one of the guests on his show. The other guest is Sonia Polion, a radio presenter. The show is known as Global Conversations.
I think that everybody should have the opportunity to do whatever it is that they want in life. And just because they have a disability, technology is so great these days, it's kind of like...
On this particular show, the main topic is disability inclusion.
I've seen so many times where people in deprived countries or developing countries, I should say, where they don't have any hands, but they still make a living for themselves.
When we aired the story of Anu Afula, it inspired so many. In my inbox, I saw persons with disabilities saying, "You mean this can be done?" Global Conversations is a weekly program that focuses on African issues and how they fit in the happenings around the world.
The ideology behind it is that when you read news, when you watch programs about Africa, most of the time we treat Africa as if it's a small place. We are trying to say Africa is a power to reckon with. Africa can speak in the global setup.
Mbaluto, at the same time, is the founder and chief editor of a weekly magazine known as The Informer East Africa, an award-winning monthly paper that has been in circulation since 2014.
Informer East Africa is a platform which is connecting people on the ground in East Africa. We have some reporters there, as well as those who are in the diaspora. So those who are in the diaspora will be able to know what's going on home by reading what's happening home. Those who are home, they get to know what's happening to their Kenyans in other countries.
Mbaluto found his bearing in the broadcasting industry through acting.
My first TV appearance on Kenyan TV was in 1988, Voice of Kenya, as I was an actor on Play of the Week. It was English service on Voice of Kenya TV at the time. Of course, it was the only TV channel we had at the time, so it was a very interesting experience.
And not just acting, he was good in script writing too.
My acting with Voice of Kenya went across to different programs. So I acted on Mchezo wa Hadithi, we also theatre special, Eagle, which was also an English detective series. But later on, I zeroed so much on the Swahili, very well-known Swahili detective series, Tahamaki.
When Mbaluto felt he had had enough of acting, he decided to try his luck abroad, and London was his next destination. He came here through education.
I've got a BA in Mass Communication and Politics, an MA in the same from UK as well, and also for practical-oriented courses, I studied at City University in London for broadcast journalism, which is a course they normally choose 40 people. And they've never chosen anyone who was non-English speaking.
After his studies at the City University, Mbaluto's dream of working in the broadcasting industry here came true.
I started to work with ITV, which is just like ATN back home, and or KBC or NTV. Sometimes I would take different roles, like depending on the program on current affairs, or I'll become a researcher. Sometimes I'll become a producer as well, but mostly as a TV reporter.
Mbaluto has also worked for BBC Radio and TV.
I covered the iconic case of Mau Mau veterans suing the British on their soil. So I covered that for BBC since it began until it ended, reporting for different outlets of BBC. The veterans were given compensation. Of course, it wasn't as much as you would have loved.
Apart from working as a correspondent for various Kenyan newspapers, that is The Star, The Standard, and The Nation, he has also been on various TV and radio channels as a political commentator. But how exactly has the UK changed him? That's up next after our Miles Away segment.
Today on Miles Away, we tour the city of London, the capital of both England and the United Kingdom. With a population of about 8 million people, London is the largest city in the UK. Its current mayor is Sadiq Khan, who took office in 2016. London has numerous attractions, from the clock tower of the Palace of Westminster, popularly known as Big Ben, to the London Eye, a cantilevered observation wheel located on the south bank of River Thames. The Eye receives close to 4 million visitors annually. More popular tourist attractions include the Tower Bridge, St. Paul's Cathedral, and Buckingham Palace, which is the official London residence and administrative headquarters of the monarch of the United Kingdom. The city is also home to a number of Premier League teams with worldwide popularity. West Ham United, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, and the famous Arsenal are just a few of these popular football clubs. And that's Miles Away. My name is Michael Zimanji.
Back to Julius Mbaluto's life in the UK, and he now takes us through how journalism is different here as compared to what he has been seeing in his home country, Kenya. First, the law of defamation is not a joke here, he warns.
Before you practice journalism, you have to study. You have to study the whole thing, because number one, it will take you a very short time before you say something that's defamatory. I had to do media law to understand issues of representation, how you represent people, how you talk about others. The law says, like if you have a particular newspaper, it printed something that was defamatory. I come with my newspaper, I copy that story on my newspaper. The law says handling libel is libel in itself.
Mbaluto, who has a mentorship program at the City University, says Kenyan journalists have done well here. Some are in very high-ranking leadership positions in various media houses, he explains.
We have Sophie Kenya, we have people like Solomon Mugera, the head editor of BBC Regional Service, Alex Murithi, I worked with him at KBC, Maria Moma, also KBC, we used to work together there. We have people like Dayo Yusuf, I'm trying to remember Peter Musembi.
The award-winning journalist has received international recognition for using the microphone to advance journalism that transforms lives.
Once upon a time, I won UK Kenya Achievers Award as the best journalist in the UK. I never, in my wildest dreams, thought one day I'll be in London on air. I'm broadcasting for the English people. I never thought in my wildest dreams one day I'll be in a university in London mentoring an English student.
Working abroad, according to Mbaluto, is good for exposure. One learns different cultures, and for him, journalism has made him interact with various personalities in Kenya and abroad. But life abroad comes with many challenges too. First, culture shock before one gets used to the new environment.
My first time to see the sun up in the sky, 10 p.m., you know, honestly, sometimes you've never seen it in your life. You think You keep looking at your watch. Is this for real? Because you're like, to a Kenyan, it's like the end of the world.
Mbaluto is not a British citizen, but has been granted permanent residency, or what is known as being legally settled. He says immigration laws in the UK are tough, and violating them is a ticket to trouble.
Because you see, your visa will run out. Your friend will tell you, don't tell Home Office, they'll deport you. Yet if you were to give their mitigating circumstance, which they allow, you're like, I didn't have the bank statement in time to support my visa application. But some people, because of being misadvised, they lost the plot at that particular area.
Mbaluto further explains that the cost of living in the UK is high, and if one has no proper means of income, it can be hell, to use his words.
Alex, a lot of us, we know Kenya. We've seen in situations whereby if you have no money, your family will host you. Sometimes if you have no food, a friend will help you. It's not happening in this country. It doesn't happen.
Everyone for themselves.
Everyone for themselves, and God for us all. I've seen people who you mess up with your accommodation immediately on the street.
The Kenyan journalist is a father of 2 boys.
My firstborn just finished his master's at King's College University and graduated in maths. I'm really proud of him because even in BA honors degree, he got first class. And King's College is just like Oxford or Cambridge. They're in the same category. My last born, who is in year 8, is known as Japheth. My wife is known as Carol.
Mbaluto and his family live in Forest Hill, southeast London, and as we concluded our day with him, we got an opportunity to visit the family. And that's the story of Julius Mbaluto, an independent journalist in the UK. Till we meet again next week, I'm Alex Chamwada.